I should have known that loving Kang Yiho would destroy me. The courthouse smells like old wood and broken dreams. My hands won't stop shaking as I sit in this hard wooden chair, watching my entire world collapse in slow motion. Across the aisle, behind an army of lawyers in expensive suits, I can see them, my babies. Saiwoo, Jaeha, and Daewon. 3 years old. 3 perfect little boys who don't understand why their appa isn't allowed to sit with them. Daewon is crying. He's always been the most sensitive, the one who feels everything too deeply. His tiny fists rub at his eyes, smearing tears across his chubby cheeks. Saiwoo, my brave eldest, tries to comfort him while shooting angry glances at the lawyers. And Jaeha, God, Jaeha keeps trying to climb over the barrier to reach me, but a stern-faced woman in a navy suit keeps pulling him back. Appa! Jaeha's voice cracks through the courtroom, and I feel something inside me break clean in half. I start to stand, every instinct screaming at me to go to them, but Baek Seojin's hand clamps down on my shoulder. Don't, my best friend whispers urgently. It'll only make things worse. Let me handle this. But Seo-jun can't handle this. Nobody can. Because sitting at the plaintiff's table, barely looking at our children, is Kang Yiho himself. Billionaire. The man I once loved more than breathing. The father who abandoned us before the triplets were even born. He looks exactly the same. Sharp jawline, cold eyes, that perfectly tailored suit that probably costs more than 6 months of my rent. His secretary, Cha Miho, leans in to whisper something, and Yiho nods without emotion. Like this is just another business transaction. Like he's not ripping 3 children away from the only parent they've ever known. The judge, an older woman with silver hair and reading glasses, clears her throat. Mr. Kang's counsel has presented compelling evidence regarding Mr. Yeo's instability. Instability. The word hits me like a physical blow. Your Honor, Seo-jun argues, standing quickly. Those allegations are completely unfounded. My client has raised these children alone for 3 years, working 2 jobs to provide. 2 jobs that left the children with various babysitters and in daycare for extended hours. Yiho's lead lawyer interrupts smoothly. He's an older man with silver temples and a shark smile. We have documented proof of Mr. Yeo's inconsistent schedule, his modest living conditions. Modest? I can't help but speak up, my voice cracking. I gave them everything I had. The judge's gavel comes down. Mr. Yeo, please refrain from outbursts. Seo-jun squeezes my arm in warning, but I can barely feel it. I'm watching Cha Miho present a manila folder to the judge. Well now, what other lies has he manufactured? Furthermore, Your Honor, the shark lawyer continues, we have evidence of Mr. Yeo's previous, shall we say, financial opportunism. He pulls out photographs, printed, enlarged, damning. These show Mr. Yeo accepting a substantial monetary payment from Mr. Kang 3 years ago. Shortly after their encounter. My stomach drops. That money. The envelope Yiho threw at me that horrible night when I told him I was pregnant. Money I never touched, never spent, that's still sitting in an envelope in my apartment drawer because looking at it makes me sick. I start, but Seo-jun cuts me off with a sharp look. Your Honor, context is everything, Seo-jun argues desperately. Mr. Kang offered that money as hush payment, which my client refused. The bank records show otherwise, Miho says quietly, his voice smooth as poisoned honey. He doesn't look at me, but I can see the slight smirk playing at his lips. The money was deposited and withdrawn within 48 hours. It's a lie. It has to be a lie. I never deposited that money. But when they show the bank statements with my signature, forged, it has to be forged, I realize how thoroughly I've been set up. The judge reviews the documents with an expression that grows more disappointed by the second. When she looks at me, I see the decision in her eyes before she even speaks. In light of the evidence presented, she says slowly, and considering the substantial difference in resources and stability between the 2 households, I am granting primary custody to Mr. Kang Yiho. The gavel falls. The sound echoes in my skull like a gunshot. No! The word tears from my throat. No, please, Your Honor, they need me. But security is already moving toward me. Across the room, all 3 boys start screaming. Saiwoo is shouting something I can't hear over the blood rushing in my ears. Jeha breaks free and runs toward me, but a bailiff catches him. And Day, my sensitive, sweet Dane, lets out a wail so heartbroken that several people in the gallery wince. Appa Hanol! Appa Hanol! His little arms reach for me as the stern woman picks him up. I'm sorry, baby, I sob, still fighting against Seojin's restraining hands. I'm so sorry. Appa loves you. Appa loves you so much. Then I see Yeho stand. For just a second, his perfect mask slips. He's staring at Daewon's tear-stained face with something that might be regret, might be pain. Our eyes meet across the courtroom, and I see him flinch at whatever he finds in my expression. I hope he sees exactly what he's done. Security escorts me out through a side door. The last thing I hear is Jeha screaming my name. I don't remember getting home. Don't remember Seo-jun driving me back to my tiny apartment. Don't remember him helping me inside. I just remember sitting on the floor of the nursery, the room where the triplets slept in their matching beds, where their toys are still scattered across the carpet, where Saiwa's crayon drawings are taped to the walls, and finally letting myself shatter completely. The knock on my door comes at 9 p.m. I almost don't answer, but something, instinct, maybe, or fate, makes me drag myself up and look through the peephole. Kang Yeho stands in my hallway, still in that perfect suit, holding a leather document folder. My hand hovers over the doorknob. Every rational part of my brain screams not to open it. But then my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. I open it with shaking hands. It's a video. In it, Jeha is sobbing so hard he's making himself sick. Saiwa sits rigid in a corner, face blank with trauma. And Daewon is just lying in a bed that's too big, too empty, staring at nothing. Another text, they won't stop. Open the door. I wrench it open and we stand there staring at each other. Up close, I can see the cracks in his composure, the tightness around his eyes, the rigid set of his jaw. What do you want? My voice sounds dead even to my own ears. He holds out the folder. A solution. I don't take it. There is no solution. You won. You took my children. They're making themselves sick. For the first time, emotion bleeds into his voice. Frustration, maybe desperation. They won't eat, won't sleep. Daewon won't stop crying. I've hired 4 nannies and they've all quit. Good. The word comes out vicious. Maybe you'll realize they need their father. That's why I'm here. He opens the folder himself, showing me a contract. Live in my mansion. As their nanny. You'll have access to them, they'll calm down and... As their nanny? I laugh, and it sounds slightly unhinged. You steal my children and now you want me to be your employee? His jaw clenches. You have no other choice, Yeo Hanol. This or nothing. He's right, and we both know it. Through the phone screen, I can still see Daewon's empty eyes. Jaeha's tears. Saiwa's defensive stillness. My babies need me. Give me the pen, I whisper. I sign my name with trembling hands, each stroke feeling like a piece of my soul being sold. When it's done, Yeho takes the contract and turns to leave. They call me Appa, I say to his back. That's non-negotiable. He pauses in the doorway. The contract says your teacher Hanol. Those are the terms. Then you can shove your contract. Fine. He cuts me off, still not turning around. In private. Never in front of staff or guests. It's not enough. It'll never be enough. But it's all I have. I'll be there in the morning, I say quietly. He nods once and disappears down the hallway, leaving me standing in my empty apartment, wondering how loving someone could lead to this, signing away my dignity for stolen moments with my own children. But as I look at the triplets' empty beds, I know I'd do it 1,000 times over. For them, I'd do anything. Even work for the man who destroyed me. The Kang mansion isn't a home, it's a mausoleum for the living. I've been here 2 weeks, and I still get lost in the endless hallways with their marble floors and abstract art that probably costs more than most people's houses. Everything is white and chrome and cold, so cold, like Yeho designed it specifically to match his heart. My room is in the east wing, deliberately far from the triplets' nursery. Every night, I lie awake counting the seconds, knowing my babies are 3 hallways and 2 staircases away. The contract says I'm only allowed in their rooms during designated work hours, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. As if love operates on a schedule. As if Daewon's nightmares care about Yeho's rules. This morning, like every morning, I'm up before dawn. The kitchen staff always looks surprised to see me. I guess Billionaire's employees aren't supposed to make their own breakfast. But I'm not making it for me. I'm preparing the Triplets' favorite, heart-shaped pancakes with strawberries arranged to look like smiles. It's the little things that keep me sane. Teacher Hanul. Jeha barrels into the dining room at exactly 8:03 a.m., still in his pajamas, hair sticking up in every direction. He crashes into my legs with enough force to bruise. You're here. You're really here. My heart clenches. Even after 2 weeks, he greets me like he's afraid I'll disappear. I'm here, baby. I catch myself. Teacher's always here. The words taste like ash in my mouth. Saiwoo enters more cautiously, his small hand gripping Daewon's. My eldest has grown up too fast these past weeks. At 3 years old, he's already learned to be the protector, the one who holds his brothers when they cry at night. I can see it in the careful way he moves, the constant vigilance in his eyes. Good morning, Teacher Hanul, Saiwoo says formally, and something inside me dies a little more. Good morning, sweetheart. I kneel down to their level, drinking in every detail. Daewon's eyes are still puffy from crying. He never sleeps well here. Jeha has a new bruise on his knee, probably from throwing another tantrum. And Saiwoo looks exhausted, like he's carrying the weight of all our broken pieces. I serve them pancakes, and for a few precious minutes, I get to watch them eat and laugh and be children. Jeha gets syrup everywhere. Daewon carefully feeds me bites of strawberry, his way of making sure I eat too. Saiwoo tells me about a dream he had where we all lived in a little house by the ocean. And Daddy Yeho was there too, Saiwoo says quietly, watching my face. But he was different. He smiled. I don't know what to say to that, so I just smooth his hair back and kiss his forehead. Mr. Kong requests no physical affection in common areas, a cold voice says from the doorway. Cha Miho stands there with his tablet and his perfect suit and that smile that never reaches his eyes. I've learned to hate that smile over the past 2 weeks. He enforces every rule, reports every infraction, watches me like a prison guard waiting for me to step out of line. They're 3 years old, I say flatly. They need affection. They need structure and discipline, Miho corrects. Mr. Kong has been quite clear about maintaining appropriate boundaries between staff and... We're not staff and children, I interrupt, standing slowly. You're whatever Mr. Kong says you are. Miho's smile sharpens. Or would you like me to remind him that you've been violating contract terms? I'm sure he'd be interested to know you've been sneaking to their rooms after hours. My blood runs cold. He knows. Of course he knows. Probably has cameras everywhere, documenting every time I can't help myself and tiptoe down those 3 hallways to check on them while they sleep. Boys, why don't you go play in the sunroom? I say quietly, not taking my eyes off Miho. Teacher needs to talk to Mr. Cha. Saiwoo hesitates, his little hand finding mine. Are you okay, Appa? The word slips out so naturally, and I see Miho's eyes light up with triumph. But before he can say anything, we both hear footsteps. Yeho enters the dining room, and the temperature drops 10 degrees. He's in workout clothes, expensive ones, naturally, with a towel around his neck. His hair is damp from the shower, and he looks irritatingly perfect for someone who's been up since 5 a.m. Our eyes meet for a fraction of a second before he looks away, focusing on Miho. What's the issue? Yeho's voice is clipped, professional. He hasn't looked at me properly since the day I moved in. Mr. Yeo has been violating multiple contract terms, Miho says smoothly. I was just explaining the consequences. The boys called him Appa, Yeho interrupts quietly. The silence that follows is suffocating. Ta, bless him, chooses this moment to act out. He grabs his plate and throws it on the floor. Pancakes and syrup explode across the white marble. I don't care about stupid rules. He is our Appa. Jeha. I move toward him, but he's already running, straight to his father. You're mean. Jeha pounds his small fists against Yeho's legs. You made Appa cry. You make Daewon have bad dreams. I hate you. I expect Yeho to call for Miho to handle it. That's what he's done every other time one of the boys has melted down. But instead, he just stands there, staring down at his son with an expression I can't read. Jae-ha, that's enough, I say firmly, moving to pick him up. But when I try to pull him away, Yeho's hand shoots out and grabs my wrist. The touch is electric. It's the first time he's touched me since that night 3 years ago, and my body remembers everything. The way his hands felt on my skin, the sound of his voice whispering my name, the brief, shining moment when I thought we could be something real. Don't, Yeho says, and I realize he's not talking to me. He's talking to Miho, who's pulled out his phone to document this. Put it away. But sir, the contract clearly states. I said put it away. The command in Yeho's voice makes even Miho flinch. Yeho releases my wrist and kneels down to Jaeha's level. We all hold our breath. The boys have barely seen their father these past 2 weeks. He leaves before they wake up and returns after they're asleep, like he can't stand to face what he's done. You're right, Yeho says quietly. I am mean. Jae-ha stops mid-tantrum, shocked. Saiwoo and Daewon edge closer, fascinated by this crack in their father's armor. I made a lot of people cry, Yeho continues, and his eyes flick up to mine for just a second. And I don't know how to fix it. Say sorry, Daewon whispers. When Jae-ha breaks my toys, he says sorry. Something flickers across Yeho's face, pain, maybe, or regret. It's not that simple, Daewon. Why not? Saiwoo asks, tilting his head. Appa always says sorry when he makes mistakes. Even little ones. The silence stretches. Yeho looks at our sons, really looks at them, maybe for the first time since the custody hearing. I can see him taking in Daewon's puffy eyes, Jae-ha's defensive stance, Saiwoo's protective positioning between his brothers and the world. You should all get ready for your lessons, Yeho finally says, standing abruptly. Mr. Cha, clear my schedule for this evening. Sir, you have the board meeting. Cancel it. Yeho turns to leave, then pauses. Hanol. My study. 10 p.m. It's not a request. He disappears before I can respond, leaving me standing in a puddle of syrup with 3 confused children and Miho's suspicious glare. The day drags. I help the boys with their lessons. They have private tutors for everything from mathematics to music, because apparently 3-year-olds need to be groomed for Yale. I read them stories during quiet time. I bandage Jaeha's knee when he falls in the garden. I hold Daewon during his afternoon anxiety spell and sing the lullaby that always calms him down. And I watch the clock, dreading and anticipating 10 p.m. in equal measure. What does Yeho want? Is he going to terminate the contract? Send me away? The thought makes me physically ill. At 9:55 p.m., I stand outside his study door, heart hammering. I can hear movement inside, footsteps pacing back and forth, the clink of glass on glass. I knock. Come in. The study is all dark wood and leather, with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves and a massive desk that probably costs more than a car. Yeho stands by the window, silhouetted against the city lights, a glass of whiskey in his hand. Close the door, he says without turning around. I do, and suddenly the room feels impossibly small. I've been thinking, Yeho begins, his voice rough, about what Saiwoo said. About me not smiling. I don't respond. I don't trust my voice. I don't remember the last time I smiled. He takes a long drink. Maybe before my father died. Maybe before I learned that everyone wants something from you. Money, power, access. I never wanted those things, I say quietly. He laughs, but there's no humor in it. No. You wanted something more dangerous. What's that? Finally, he turns to face me. His eyes are bloodshot, his hair messed up like he's been running his hands through it. There's an open folder on his desk, and I recognize the ultrasound photos spilling out of it. You wanted me to be human, he says. The confession hangs between us. I want to stay angry, to hold on to my righteous fury, but seeing him like this, vulnerable, breaking, makes it harder. Where did you get those? I ask, nodding at the photos. They were in my safe. I'd forgotten. He trails off, picking up one of the images. Miho told me you'd terminated the pregnancy. Said you'd taken the money and disappeared to do it. He showed me medical records, receipts, everything. The room tilts. What? I believed him. Yiho's voice cracks. When I saw you with the boys at the custody hearing, I thought you'd gotten pregnant again. With someone else. I didn't realize they were. He can't finish the sentence. Yours, I whisper. They're yours, Yiho. They've always been yours. He sets down his glass with a shaking hand and moves to his desk, pulling out more documents. Bank statements. Medical records. All forged. All signed with my name in handwriting that's almost, but not quite, mine. I'm having everything investigated, he says. If Miho fabricated evidence. If. I laugh bitterly. You're still not sure? Even after meeting them? Saiwa has your eyes. Jaeha has your stubborn streak. Daewon has your... I know. The words explode out of him. I know they're mine. I see it every time I look at them. Saiwa's careful planning, Jaeha's defiance, Daewon's sensitivity that I spent years trying to bury in myself. He's breathing hard now, the careful control completely shattered. I see you in them too. Your kindness. Your strength. Everything good about them is you, and everything difficult is me and I. He stops, jaw clenched, and turns away. You what? I push, taking a step closer. Why do you still smell like home? The question comes out raw, desperate. After everything I've done, why do I walk past the nursery at night and hear you singing and feel like I can finally breathe? My breath catches. Yiho. He closes the distance between us in 2 strides, backing me against the bookshelf. He's not touching me, but he's close enough that I can feel the heat radiating off him, smell the whiskey on his breath mixed with that cologne that still haunts my dreams. I took our children from you, he says, voice dropping to almost a whisper. I called you a gold digger. A liar. I looked you in the eye in that courtroom and felt nothing while our sons screamed your name. His hand comes up, hovering near my face but not quite touching. How can you stand to be in the same room as me? Because they need me, I answer honestly. And right now, despite everything, I think you might need me too. His control breaks. His forehead drops to my shoulder, and I feel his whole body shudder. I'm so sorry, he whispers against my neck. God, Hanul, I'm so fucking sorry. I stand frozen, every instinct warring inside me. Part of me wants to push him away, to hurt him like he hurt me. But another part, the part that remembers loving him, that sees the father he could be, wants to hold him while he falls apart. Before I can decide, his knees buckle. He's drunk. More than drunk. He's been drinking to build up the courage for this conversation, and now it's all catching up to him. Okay, I say softly, catching him before he slides down the bookshelf. Let's get you to bed. Don't leave, he mumbles as I help him toward the leather couch. Please. Everyone leaves. I'm not going anywhere, I assure him, and realize with a start that it's true. I can't leave. Not just because of the contract or the boys, but because some pathetic part of me still cares about this broken man who destroyed my life. I settle him on the couch and grab a blanket from the armchair. When I drape it over him, his hand shoots out and catches mine. Miho, he slurs. Check Miho's office. Hidden files. He thinks I don't notice him watching me. The way he looks at me. But I notice everything except. His eyes focus on me with sudden clarity. Except what mattered most. Then he's out, breathing evening out into sleep. I should leave. Return to my room in the East Wing and pretend this never happened. But instead, I sink into the armchair across from him and watch the man who stole my children's sleep like he hasn't slept in years. And I wonder if it's possible to hate someone and still want to save them. The answer, terrifyingly, might be yes. I wait until 3 a.m. before I move. Yiho is still passed out on the couch, one arm thrown over his face, breathing deep and even. In sleep, he looks younger, less like the cold CEO who stole my children and more like the man I fell in love with 4 years ago. The man who laughed at my terrible jokes and held me like I was something precious. I push the memory away and slip out of the study. The mansion is different at night, darker, quieter, full of shadows that seem to watch as I make my way through the halls. I should feel guilty about what I'm about to do. Breaking into Miho's office is probably illegal, definitely a violation of my contract. But after what Yiho said, I have to know. Hidden files. Evidence. Proof that the past 3 years of hell were orchestrated by someone I've barely spoken to. Miho's office is on the second floor, tucked away in a corner that screams, "I'm important but not as important as I'd like to be." The door is locked, naturally, but Seojun taught me how to pick simple locks back in college. Don't ask, we had questionable hobbies. My hands shake as I work the pins. Come on. The office is obsessively organized. Everything has its place, pens lined up with military precision, files color-coded and labeled, a computer with 3 monitors displaying screensavers of minimalist geometric patterns. It's the office of someone who needs control, who can't stand chaos. Someone who might destroy lives to get what they want. I start with the desk drawers. Standard office supplies, some files about company acquisitions, Yiho's schedule printed out for the next 6 months. Nothing suspicious yet. But then I find a locked drawer at the bottom. This lock is more complex. It takes me 15 precious minutes to crack it, and by the time I do, my hands are cramping and my heart is trying to punch through my ribcage. Inside is a folder marked Personal. I open it and my world tilts. Photos. Dozens of them. All of Yiho. Yiho at his desk, taken from an odd angle. Yiho at the gym, clearly photographed without his knowledge. Yiho at business dinners, at galas, even one of him sleeping on his office couch. The images span years, and they're organized chronologically in a way that makes my skin crawl. This isn't admiration. This is obsession. Beneath the photos is a journal. The handwriting is precise, controlled, just like everything else about Miho. I flip to a random entry from 3 years ago. He smiled today. Not at me, never at me, but at that Omega server at the restaurant. The one with the soft eyes and gentle hands. I saw the way YH looked back. The way they exchanged numbers when YH thought no one was watching. This cannot happen. I've worked too hard, invested too many years. YH is mine. But Yeo Hanol. My hands tremble as I flip forward. Found out the Omega is pregnant. Twins, maybe triplets. YH looked happy when he left the clinic. I can't let this destroy everything. Call Dr. Park, he owes me a favor. Forged abortion records were easier than expected. The bank account in YH's name was simple too. A little Photoshop, some strategic deposits and withdrawals. KY won't question it. He's too hurt, too angry. He'll believe whatever I tell him. KY. Kang Yiho. The entry continues, showed KY the evidence, today. He actually cried. Called himself a fool for trusting an Omega who just wanted his money. I held him while he broke down, and for a moment, just a moment, he leaned into me. This is how it should be. Just us. The way it was before that Omega came along and ruined everything. I'm going to be sick. There are more entries. Years of them. Details about how Miho monitored my life from afar, made sure I stayed poor and struggling, even sabotaged job interviews when I got too close to stability. How he prepared for the custody case years in advance, building a case file of forged evidence and manufactured instability. And the most damning, KY will never love me the way I love him. I've accepted this. But I'll ensure he never loves anyone else either. If I can't have him, neither can some pathetic Omega who got lucky one night. The children are leverage. KY's guilt will keep him broken, and broken people don't leave. They stay. They need you. And eventually, they'll see that you're the only one who understands. My phone is in my hand before I consciously decide to move. I photograph everything, every page of the journal, every forged document, every obsessive photo. The flash seems deafening in the quiet office, but I can't stop. You know, a cold voice says from the doorway, I really thought you'd be smarter than this. I spin around. Miho stands there in silk pajamas, looking remarkably composed for someone who just caught an intruder. In his hand is a phone, already recording. Breaking and entering, he says calmly. Theft of private property. Violation of your employment contract. I have to thank you, Hanol. You've made this so much easier. You're insane, I breathe. You destroyed our lives because of some sick obsession. Obsession. Miho's laugh is hollow. I prefer dedication. I've been by Yiho's side for 10 years. 10 years of putting him first, protecting him, building his empire. Then you came along with your soft smiles and gentle touches, and suddenly I was invisible. His expression darkens. Did you really think I'd let some random Omega take everything I'd worked for? He doesn't love you, I say, clutching my phone tighter. He never will. Maybe not. Miho steps into the office and I instinctively back up. But he'll never love you either. Not after I show him this video of you stealing from me, probably to sell to tabloids. By morning, you'll be out of this house and out of his life. The boys will forget you eventually. Children are resilient that way. You can't. I can. His smile is knife-sharp. I've already called security. They'll be here in 3 minutes. You'll be arrested, probably prosecuted. And Yiho will believe every word I say, just like he always does. My mind races. He's right. The video makes me look guilty. Without context, I'm just a disgruntled employee stealing files. My photos of his journal could be dismissed as fabrications, revenge for being caught. You love him that much? I ask quietly. Enough to destroy him? Miho falters. I'm protecting him. You're suffocating him. I take a chance, a desperate gamble. He told me tonight that everyone wants something from him. That he can't remember the last time he smiled. You did that. Your protection has turned him into a ghost. Shut up. He's drinking himself numb because he can't live with what he's done. Our children cry themselves to sleep every night. And you? I shake my head. You're so obsessed with possessing him that you can't see you're killing the person you claim to love. I said shut up. Miho's control finally cracks. He lunges forward, grabbing for my phone. We struggle. He's stronger, but I'm desperate. The phone skitters across the floor, sliding under a filing cabinet. Miho shoves me hard, and I crash into the desk, pain exploding through my hip. You ruined everything, Miho hisses, standing over me. He was fine before you. Controlled. Predictable. Now he questions everything, looks at me like I'm a stranger, spends his nights drunk in his study staring at ultrasound photos. What's going on here? We both freeze. Yiho stands in the doorway, hair messed from sleep, still in the clothes he passed out in. His eyes are clearer now, focused, taking in the scene. Me on the floor, Miho standing over me, the open drawer with its incriminating contents spilling out. Sir, Miho says smoothly, his mask sliding back into place. I caught the Omegas stealing from my office. I've already called security. Is that my file? Yiho's voice is dangerously quiet. He's looking at the open folder on the desk, at the photos of himself scattered across the surface. Miho pales. I can explain. How long? Yiho steps into the office, and there's something terrifying in his expression. How long have you been documenting me like some kind of obsessed stalker? It's not like that, Miho says quickly. I was protecting you, keeping records in case. In case what? In case you needed blackmail material? Yiho picks up one of the photos, the one of him sleeping. This was taken in my private office. You've been violating my privacy for years. Everything I did was for you. Miho's composure is crumbling. To protect you from people who would use you, hurt you. Like Hanul. Yiho's eyes cut to me. Get up. I struggle to my feet, my hips screaming in protest. Yiho's gaze sweeps over me, cataloging the injury, before returning to Miho with frightening intensity. Tell me about the abortion records, Yiho says softly. The bank statements. The evidence you presented 3 years ago. Miho's silence is damning. My phone, I gasp. It's under the cabinet. I photographed his journal. Everything's in there. How he forged the documents, sabotaged my life, planned the custody case. Yiho doesn't move. Is this true? You don't understand, Miho pleads. That Omega was using you, trying to trap you with a pregnancy. They were my children. The roar echoes through the office. I've never heard Yiho raise his voice like this, never seen him lose control so completely. My sons. My family. And you took them from me. Made me believe Hanul had killed them. I saved you from a life of obligation. You destroyed us. Yiho's hands are shaking. I lost 3 years with my children. 3 years of first words and first steps and his voice breaks. I called Hanul a gold digger in front of our sons. I took custody through fraud. I've been living with that guilt every day, drinking myself stupid because I couldn't stand what I'd become, and it was all based on lies. Sirens wail in the distance. Security, probably, but maybe police too. Miho realizes he's lost. I can see it in his eyes, the desperate calculation, the weighing of options. Then his expression hardens into something ugly. Fine, he spits. You want the truth? I forged everything. The records, the bank statements, all of it. I fed you exactly what you needed to hear because you were too stupid to see that Omega was beneath you. He laughs bitterly. And you believed every word. That's how well I know you, Yiho. I can manipulate you without you even realizing. The punch comes so fast I almost miss it. Yiho's fist connects with Miho's jaw with a sickening crack. Miho stumbles back, shock and pain flooding his face. Get out, Yiho says, voice deadly calm. Security will escort you out. If you try to contact me, my lawyers, my company, or anyone in my family ever again, I will bury you. Professionally. Legally. Completely. Do you understand? Miho touches his split lip, staring at the blood on his fingers. You'll regret this. That Omega will hurt you worse than I ever could. Out. Security arrives then. Two large men who take one look at the situation and grab Miho by the arms. He doesn't struggle, just stares at Yiho with wounded betrayal as they drag him away. I loved you, Miho says from the doorway, voice breaking. Everything I did was because I loved you. That wasn't love, Yiho replies quietly. That was possession. And I'm done being anyone's property. When they're gone, the office falls silent except for our ragged breathing. Yiho retrieves my phone from under the cabinet and hands it to me. Our fingers brush, and I feel that same electric current from earlier. Did you get everything? He asks. I nod, not trusting my voice. Good. Send it to my personal email. And to your lawyer friend. He runs a hand through his hair. We'll need it to overturn the custody ruling, file fraud charges, probably a dozen other legal actions I haven't thought of yet. Yiho. Don't. He holds up a hand. Don't say anything yet. I need to. He looks around the office, at the evidence of Miho's obsession, and something in him seems to break all over again. I trusted him. For 10 years, I trusted him with everything. I know, I say softly. He was right about one thing. Yiho's eyes meet mine, and they're full of anguish. I am stupid. Too stupid to see what was right in front of me. Too stupid to question convenient evidence. Too stupid to realize that taking our children from you would destroy us all. He sinks into Miho's desk chair, head in his hands. In this moment, he doesn't look like a billionaire CEO. He looks like a man who's lost everything that matters. I should hate him. Part of me still does. But I also see the father who's been drowning in guilt, the man who was manipulated by someone he trusted, the person who's been as much a victim of Miho's obsession as I have. We're both stupid then, I say, moving closer. Because despite everything, despite the custody battle and the contract and all the pain, I don't want to leave. His head snaps up. What? The boys need us. Both of us. And maybe, I take a breath. Maybe we need each other too. To heal. To become the parents they deserve. I don't deserve your forgiveness, Yiho says hoarsely. Probably not. I allow myself a small smile. But you're going to spend a very long time earning it anyway. For the first time since I've been in this mansion, Yiho smiles. It's broken and tentative and doesn't quite reach his eyes, but it's real. How long? He asks. Forever, I answer. Or at least until Jaeha graduates college. Whichever comes first. His laugh is wet, almost a sob. Then he's standing, closing the distance between us, and pulling me into a hug that feels like coming home and falling apart in equal measure. I'm so sorry, he whispers into my hair. Hanul, I'm so fucking sorry. I let myself hold him back, just for a moment. Tomorrow we'll deal with lawyers and custody hearings and press conferences. Tomorrow we'll figure out how to explain this to 3 confused boys. Tomorrow we'll start the long, painful process of rebuilding what was broken. But tonight, in this office full of evidence of someone else's twisted love, we hold each other and remember what real love feels like. Messy. Painful. Imperfect, but worth fighting for. The next 72 hours pass in a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and damage control. Miho is arrested on multiple charges: fraud, forgery, conspiracy, stalking. Seo-jun works with Yiho's legal team to file emergency motions to overturn the custody ruling. The evidence from Miho's journal is damning enough that the judge agrees to an expedited hearing. Through it all, I try to maintain normalcy for the boys. But they know something's happening. Children always know. Why did Mr. Cha leave? Saiwa asks one morning over breakfast. He's been quieter than usual, watching everything with those careful, observant eyes that remind me so much of his father. Mr. Cha made some mistakes, I say carefully. Big ones. So he can't work here anymore. Did he make Daddy sad? Daewon asks, leaning against my side. He's been extra clingy lately, sensing the tension in the house. Yes, baby. He did. Good riddance, Jaeha declares, stabbing his pancake with unnecessary violence. He was mean. He always told us not to hug you. I smooth his hair back. Well, new rule, you can hug me whenever you want. All three boys immediately pile onto me, and I laugh despite everything. These moments of pure, uncomplicated love, this is what matters. The hearing is scheduled for Friday. 3 days to prepare, 3 days to rehearse testimony, 3 days of Yiho working around the clock with his legal team while simultaneously trying to be present for the boys. It's different now. The cold mask is gone, replaced by someone raw and real. He sits with us during meals. Reads bedtime stories, even though his voice cracks on the emotional parts. Last night, I found him in the nursery at 2 a.m., just watching them sleep. I missed so much, he'd whispered when he noticed me in the doorway. First words. First steps. Daewon's first laugh. I can't get that back. No, I'd agreed. But you can be here for everything that comes next. Now it's Friday morning, and we're sitting in the same courthouse where my world ended 3 weeks ago. But this time, Yiho is beside me instead of across from me. Our lawyers, a small army of them, are confident. The evidence is overwhelming. But I'm still terrified. Mr. Yeo? The bailiff calls my name. You're up. Seo-jun squeezes my shoulder as I stand. Yiho's hand finds mine for just a second, a brief touch that says I'm sorry and thank you and we'll get through this all at once. The testimony is brutal. I have to relive everything. The pregnancy, Yiho's rejection, the 3 years of struggling alone, the forged evidence, the moment they took my children. By the time I'm done, I'm shaking and the judge looks furious. Then it's Yiho's turn. Mr. Kong, the judge says, her voice cold. You pursued custody of these children based on fabricated evidence. You separated them from their primary caregiver. You caused immeasurable harm to your own family. Why shouldn't I hold you in contempt? Yiho stands, and I see his hands tremble. Your Honor, there's no excuse for what I did. I allowed my own hurt and anger to blind me to the truth. I trusted the wrong person and didn't question evidence that confirmed what I wanted to believe, that I'd been betrayed, so my cruelty was justified. He pauses, swallowing hard. I was wrong. Catastrophically wrong. And 3 people who are innocent in all of this, my sons, have suffered because of my choices. What do you propose as a remedy? The judge asks. Full restoration of Yeo Hanul's parental rights. Joint custody with primary residence determined by what's best for the children. My name added to their birth certificates, but only if Hanul agrees. Yiho's voice strengthens. And I'll spend the rest of my life proving to them, to all of them, that I can be better than the man who walked into this courthouse 3 weeks ago. The judge reviews the evidence again. The forged documents. Miho's journal entries. The photos. Everything that proves this was an orchestrated manipulation, not a legitimate custody concern. Finally, she speaks. I'm appalled by what I've seen here. This court was used as a weapon to separate a child from their fit and loving parent. That is an unconscionable abuse of our legal system. She looks at Yiho. Mr. Kong, you will be paying substantial legal fees for Mr. Yeo. You will also be subject to a full psychological evaluation before any custody arrangement is finalized. Yiho nods. Of course, Your Honor. However, the judge continues, I'm also a pragmatist. These children have already been through enough disruption. Uprooting them again serves no one. She turns to me. Mr. Yeo, I'm restoring your full parental rights, effective immediately. I'm also ordering joint legal custody with a co-parenting plan to be developed with a family therapist. The children will remain in their current residence, but you will have equal say in all decisions regarding their welfare. Relief crashes over me so hard I have to sit down. It's not perfect. I wanted to take them away from Yeho's mansion, from all the memories of these painful weeks. But it's enough. They're legally mine again. Thank you, Your Honor, I manage. Don't thank me, she says sharply. Fix this family. Those children deserve better than what you've both put them through. She's right. But as we leave the courtroom and I see Yeho's shoulders sag with relief, I think maybe, just maybe, we can become what the boys deserve. We tell them that evening, all of us together in the boys' playroom. So, Yeho begins, and I can hear the nervousness in his voice. We have some news. Good news. 3 pairs of eyes watch us expectantly. Saiwoo sits close to Day One, protective as always. Jae-ha bounces impatiently, and Day One clutches his favorite stuffed rabbit, the one I bought him when he was 6 months old. The judge said that Appa and I both get to be your parents, Yeho continues. Officially. Legally. Forever. Does that mean Appa doesn't have to be teacher anymore? Saiwoo asks carefully. That's exactly what it means, I confirm, pulling him onto my lap. I'm your Appa. Always have been, always will be. And Daddy Yeho gets to stay too? Day One asks hopefully. Yeho's voice cracks. If you'll have me. I know I haven't been a very good daddy lately. Jae-ha launches himself at Yeho with enough force to knock him backwards. You're still our daddy, even when you're being dumb. Saiwoo and Day One join the pile, and suddenly we're all tangled together on the playroom floor, 2 adults and 3 children, all crying and laughing at the same time. Family hug. Jae-ha declares. Everybody has to participate. I think we already are, buddy, Yeho says, his arm reaching across the pile of children to pull me closer. For the first time in 3 years, we're whole. The media finds out, of course. Someone leaks the story, probably from Miho's legal team, a last desperate attempt at revenge. Within 48 hours, we're trending on every social media platform. Billionaire's secret Omega baby daddy. Custody scandal rocks Kong Industries. Evil secretary's decade-long obsession exposed. Yeho's PR team wants to issue a statement denying everything. His board of directors calls an emergency meeting. Investors are concerned. Stock prices wobble. And Yeho tells them all to go to hell. I'm calling a press conference, he announces at breakfast, scrolling through his phone with a disgusted expression. If we're going to be a spectacle, we're going to control the narrative. Are you sure? I ask nervously. The boys are still eating, oblivious to the media storm brewing around us. Once we go public, there's no taking it back. Good. Yeho sets down his phone and looks at me, really looks at me, the way he used to 4 years ago. I'm done hiding. Done pretending. Done letting other people define who we are. The press conference is scheduled for 2 p.m. Yeho's PR team tries to coach me on talking points and media training, but Yeho waves them off. He speaks from the heart, Yeho says firmly. No scripts. No corporate sanitization. Just the truth. So that's what we do. The conference room is packed with reporters, cameras, flashing lights. Yeho sits at the head table with me beside him, an equal, not an accessory. And behind us, in a decision that makes the PR team nearly faint, are Saiwoo, Jae-ha, and Day One. They're part of this story, Yeho had insisted. And I'm done pretending they don't exist. He starts speaking, and the room falls silent. 3 weeks ago, I stood in a courtroom and took custody of 3 children from their loving parent. I did this based on fabricated evidence provided by someone I trusted. I did this because I was hurt, angry, and too proud to question information that confirmed my worst assumptions. He pauses, jaw tight. I was wrong. Catastrophically, unforgivably wrong. A reporter starts to ask a question, but Yeho holds up a hand. I stole 3 years from Yeo Hanul. 3 years of being recognized as the father he's always been. 3 years of dignity, security, and peace. His voice roughens. I also stole 3 years from myself, 3 years of watching my sons grow, of being the father they deserved, of building a family with the man He stops, glancing at me. With the man who deserved so much better than what I gave him. Beside me, I feel Saiwoo reach for my hand. On my other side, Daewon leans against me. Jae-ha sits by Yeho, watching his father with wide eyes. The person who orchestrated this has been arrested and charged, Yeho continues. But I'm not here to deflect blame. Yes, I was manipulated. Yes, evidence was forged. But I chose to believe it. I chose cruelty over communication. I chose my wounded pride over the welfare of my children. He takes a breath. Those choices are mine to own. Mr. Kang, a reporter calls out. What about your company? Your board is calling for your resignation. They can have it, Yeho says simply. The room erupts. Even I stare at him in shock. What matters to me is sitting at this table, Yeho says, his hand finding mine on the table. The cameras go crazy. My family. My sons. The man I'm going to spend the rest of my life making amends to. If the board wants me gone because I prioritize them over quarterly earnings, then I was working for the wrong company anyway. Mr. Yeo, another reporter shouts. How do you feel about Mr. Kang's statement? All eyes turn to me. I look at Yeho, at this man who just sacrificed his career on live television, who brought our children to face the cameras because he refused to hide them anymore, who's gripping my hand like I'm the only thing keeping him anchored, and I realize something. I've already forgiven him. Maybe I forgave him that night in his study when he broke down. Maybe I forgave him when he punched Miho for us. Maybe I'm still in the process of forgiving him, and will be for years to come. But I want to try. I feel, I say slowly, like we're both learning how to be better. For them. I gesture to the boys. They deserve parents who can admit mistakes, who can grow, who can show them that love isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, even when it's hard. Saiwoo suddenly grabs the microphone. This is our Appa Hanol, he announces proudly. The reporters laugh, charmed despite themselves. And that's our daddy Yeho. We're a family. Jae-ha and Daewon cheer. The room explodes with camera flashes and questions, but I don't hear any of it. I'm too busy watching Yeho's face as he looks at our sons, at Saiwoo's fierce protectiveness, Jae-ha's chaotic joy, Daewon's gentle smile. Thank you, Yeho mouths to me. I just nod. Because words aren't enough for this moment, for this messy, imperfect, beautiful thing we're building from the ruins of what we lost. That night, after the boys are finally asleep, Yeho finds me in the garden. The same garden where we first met, where he'd been hosting some charity gala and I'd been working as a server. Where he'd smiled at me and asked if I believed in fate. I have something for you, he says quietly. He pulls out a small box and my heart stutters. It's not what you think, he adds quickly. I mean it is, but I'm not. I know I don't deserve. He stops, takes a breath. I'm doing this badly. You're doing fine, I assure him, even though my hands are shaking. He opens the box. Inside is a simple silver ring with 3 small stones, birthstones, I realize. 1 for each of the boys. I don't deserve your forgiveness, Yeho says, the words rushing out. I don't deserve a second chance. I don't deserve to stand here and ask you to build a life with me after I tried to destroy yours. He looks up, and his eyes are bright with unshed tears. But our sons deserve both their fathers. They deserve to see us try. To see us fail and keep trying anyway. To learn that love isn't about being perfect, it's about choosing each other every single day, even when it's hard. He drops to one knee and I stop breathing. Yeo Hanol, I stole your custody rights. I called you a liar and a gold digger. I took 3 years we can never get back. His voice breaks. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving that I can be better than the worst thing I've ever done. Will you let me? I look at him, really look at him. At the man who's lost his company but found his family. Who's broken and trying desperately to heal. Who's offering me not a fairy tale, but something more valuable, the truth. You stole my custody rights, I say, and he flinches. I step closer. Now you're going to spend forever making up for it. His eyes widen. Is that? That's a yes, Kang Yeho. I take the ring from the box and slide it onto my finger. It fits perfectly. But we're doing this my way. Slowly. With therapy. With family counseling. With honesty even when it hurts. Anything, he breathes. Everything. Whatever you need. From the house, we hear a crash, followed by Jeha's voice. It wasn't me. Saiwa's response. It's always you. And day one, the peacemaker. Maybe if we clean it up before the grown-ups notice? Yiho and I look at each other and start laughing. The kind of helpless laughter that comes from exhaustion and relief and joy all tangled together. Our family, Yiho says, wonder in his voice. Our family, I agree, taking his hand. Now come on. We should probably make sure Jeha didn't break anything irreplaceable. With Jeha, everything breakable is already broken, Yiho points out, but he's smiling as he says it. We walk back to the house hand in hand, toward the chaos and noise and beautiful disaster of our 3 boys. It's not the ending I imagined when this started. It's not even the ending I wanted 3 weeks ago. But it's ours. Broken and healing and fighting like hell to become something better. And really, what more could we ask for? 6 months later. Appa, Daddy said we could get a puppy. Daddy Yiho was joking. I was not. You were definitely joking. Saiwu rolls his eyes with the long-suffering patience of a 3-year-old who's somehow become the most mature person in the house. They're arguing about the puppy again. Again! I look up from where I'm helping Day One with his art project. That's the 3rd time this week. Technically 4th, Saiwu corrects. Tuesday before breakfast doesn't count because Daddy was still asleep. From the kitchen, I hear Jeha's victorious shout. Appa said maybe. Maybe means yes. Maybe means ask again later. I call back. Yiho appears in the doorway, Jeha hanging off his arm like a monkey. A little help here? You started it, I point out. You deal with it. I love how we're a united front, Yiho says dryly, but he's grinning. It's been 6 months of this. Learning to co-parent, learning to communicate, learning to be partners instead of adversaries. We still see our family therapist twice a week. We still have arguments. Last month, we had a huge fight about kindergarten choices that ended with both of us sleeping on opposite sides of the bed, arms crossed, stubbornly refusing to be the first to apologize. Day One crawled into bed between us at 3 a.m. and said, "You're both being silly," and we couldn't help but laugh and make up. It's messy and complicated, and sometimes I still wake up angry about the 3 years we lost. But then I see Yiho reading bedtime stories with all 3 boys piled on his lap, or catch him watching me with this expression like he can't believe we're real, and I remember. We're not trying to recapture what we lost. We're building something new. Something better. Something worth fighting for. Okay, Yiho says, sitting down on the floor with us. Jeha immediately climbs into his lap. Family meeting. Who actually wants a puppy? 3 hands shoot up. Then 4, as Yiho raises his hand too. Traitor, I mutter, but I'm smiling. So that's 4 votes for puppy, Yiho says solemnly. And 1 vote against. Democracy in action, I sigh. Fine. But you're in charge of potty training. Which one? Yiho asks innocently. The puppy or Jeha? I'm potty trained. Jeha protests. Debatable, Saiwu mutters. As they dissolve into chaos again, arguing about puppy names and colors and whether it should sleep in their room or the guest room, I catch Yiho's eye across the mess of children and art supplies and half-built Lego towers. He mouths, I love you. I mouth back, I know. And in this moment, surrounded by our loud, messy, perfect family, I finally feel like we're home. Not the home we lost. The one we built together, from broken pieces and second chances and love that refused to stay buried. The one worth every painful step it took to get here. He stands, and suddenly we're inches apart. The last time we were this close, it ended with betrayal and heartbreak. But now feels like a beginning. Can I kiss you? Yiho asks softly. Instead of answering, I close the distance between us. The kiss is everything our first one wasn't. Desperate where that was tentative, weighted with history where that was light with possibility. It tastes like tears and second chances and all the things we've said and haven't said. When we finally break apart, I rest my forehead against his. We're not going to be perfect, I warn him. I don't want perfect, he replies. I just want us. Messy and complicated and real.